What's up guys, welcome to News2Gamers, the centre of the universe for everything gaming. I'm your host Simon Hill and I've got to say I am pretty damn excited about what we've got going on in this episode. So let's show you what's coming up, shall we? Yes, welcome to another episode of N2G TV, and what an exciting week it has been in the gaming world so far. New announcements, trailers and releases, all of which we'll be sharing with you on this very show. Bear with me tonight as my entire body is in agony after I went to a heavy metal gig, and 3 days later I'm still suffering, but alright, okay, we don't need to see that. Everyone doesn't need to see the state I was in for 2 hours in a mosh pit. Come on, get it off the screen. Right, remind me to sack the director after this. Anyway, back to the show. Later on, I'll be reviewing one of the most anticipated titles of 2016 to date. That's in Street Fighter V. Leanne's here. She's going to be having fun with you guys on social media and finding out how creative you've been with your special abilities if we dumped you in Street Fighter as your own character. And in part 2, I'll be talking to a member of the development team who's behind such amazing games as Dead Space, Bioshock and Rock Band, just to name a few. They've created their very own studio that goes by the name of the Deep End Games. They're currently working on a brand new, super exciting IP titled Perception. I'll be speaking to Bill and Amanda, who are two of the individuals behind the incredible new project, a little bit later, so stick around for that. But first, let's give you the lowdown. Eager to learn more about Fallout 4's first DLC? Well, you won't have to wait much longer. According to a tweet from Bethesda, they teased that news about the first game's expansions will be announced pretty soon. Additionally, the studio said it is planning a complete overhaul of the RPG survival mode. Fallout 4's DLC was announced back in September before the game was even released. The first of these expansions is due to launch this year. By comparison, Bethesda released 5 paid DLC expansion packs for Fallout 3. These were Operation Anchorage, The Pit, Broken Steel, Point Lookout and Mothership Zeta. It's pretty cool, isn't it? A bit of nostalgia there for you. They all came with new quests, items, achievements and more. You can probably expect the same from Fallout 4's DLC. Resident Evil's multiplayer shooter Umbrella Corps is set to release on PS4 and PC in May. When it does, players can brutally kill each other in the Resident Evil 5 location Kajuju. Capcom announced on its blog that the Resident Evil 5 location will be the biggest map in the game and features wide open areas and tighter underground passages. In Resident Evil 5, Kajuju is a fictional African city decimated by the plague of parasites that turns their host into zombie-like monsters. Every Umbrella Corps map is populated by monsters, so you'll have to deal with them in addition to enemy players. Other maps announced for the multiplayer shooter include Umbrella Lab, Village and Tricell HQ. While it may not be much of a surprise, Activision have officially announced that a new Call of Duty game will launch this holiday season, or Christmas as some of you know it. The game, as suspected, will be developed by Infinity Ward, the creators of the uber-popular Modern Warfare series. Infinity Ward's new Call of Duty game was described by Activision as innovative. Though no solid details about the game have been released just yet, it will be the studio's first new game since 2013's Call of Duty Ghosts, which was the first entry in the blockbuster series for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. The Call of Duty series is on a 3-year, 3-studio development cycle. 2015's Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was developed by Treyarch, while Sledgehammer Games made 2014's Advanced Warfare. Should Infinity Ward be looking at going back to the classic shooter mechanics they mastered so well with the original Modern Warfare series with a World War II shooter, maybe a new story? Or, you know, do we go with something a bit different? Do we stay futuristic? Get onto our Facebook and Twitter page and let us know. Right, more news from Ubisoft now, as they have confirmed the follow-up to Watch Dogs. It will be releasing before the end of its fiscal year in 2017. In April 2015, a senior gameplay programmer at Ubisoft indicated work on Watch Dogs 2 was underway. The developer who worked on the original Watch Dogs and its expansions listed Watch Dogs 2 on a CV. The first Watch Dogs sold more than 9 million copies into retail, and its creative director has been very vocal about what he'd like to do with the franchise next. Alongside the potentially titled Watch Dogs 2, Ubisoft also confirmed the release for For Honor, Tom Clancy's Wildlands and South Park The Fractured Butthole will arrive before April 2017. Tried not to laugh saying that then. It's pretty exciting. Ubisoft have got an amazing lineup, don't you think? It also has been officially announced that Ubisoft will not release a mainline new Assassin's Creed game in 2016. Sad times for AC fans, but is this the right move? Let us know. Okay, so apart from Remedy Entertainment pissing all the Xbox fans off with the latest announcement that Quantum Break is no longer an exclusive and it will be released on Windows 10 as well. They have managed to win some of us back by throwing the newly backwards compatible Alan Wake with both of its DLC expansions in for free. See, it's not all the end of the world, is it? A new live-action trailer for Quantum Break was also released. If you haven't seen it already, then check it out right now. It's pretty impressive. Enjoy.
No one saw it coming. We never thought time itself could collapse and take the world down with it.
Ground unit, this is Overlord 1, ready for mark. Copy, Overlord.
Because we take time for granted. Just like I took you for granted.
We've got a visual on choice. Confirmed target, guns hot.
But if I get another chance, I'll make sure things are different.
You're cleared to engage with weapons.
This time, I'll save you.
That's a pretty awesome trailer, and the game is looking better and better every time I see it. I'm sure you'll agree. Right, so it's that time of the show where we check in with you guys and find out what has been exciting you this week and see what random abilities you've come up with for your very own Street Fighter character if we were to just dump you in there. I'm looking forward to seeing how creative you guys have been on social media with this and what randomness you've come up with. Leanne, how's it looking? What we had? Let's have a look.
Oh my god, yes, we have had some crazy ideas from you guys, and I really enjoyed reading what your silly superpowers would be. First up, we have Dale Martin Chatwin, who commented, "I'd utilise the power of my beard. It's such a great source of strength and transforms into a mighty shield that shoots out some huge ginger tentacles that latch onto my victims and smashes them into a bloody pulp." Wow, definitely think that superpower should be taken into consideration on the next big fighter game. Jack Kelsey says, "I grow a massive hand to slap people into oblivion." Okay. And this one from Daniel Love Davis really made me chuckle. "A Kardashian twerk attack." So there you have it, ladies and gents. The next generation of superpowers we have all been secretly hoping for. Right, so for all you soppy Valentines out there, we here at News2Gamers are curious to know what your best excuses have been for your loved ones for a cheeky bash on your beloved consoles. You can get in touch with us through our Twitter page at News2Gamers, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for all your weekly up-to-date content from around the world of gaming. After the break, Simon will be sharing his review of Capcom's awesome fighter. I'm so excited for it. It's the return of Street Fighter V. Plus, we have a very special interview with two members of the development team behind Bioshock Infinite, Dead Space, and more. Simon will be finding out what their next project will be. We'll be right back after this.
welcome back to N2G TV. Still to come, I'll be reviewing Capcom's latest return to an awesome franchise in Street Fighter V. But first, I've been looking forward to chatting to these guys for quite a while now. They've previously worked on AAA titles such as Bioshock Infinite, Dead Space and Rock Band, just to name a few. Well, they've created a new studio called the F.A.N.G Games. They are working on an awesome new IP that dips into the unique narrative horror/adventure genres. It's titled Perception. I'm joined by creative director Bill Gardner and writer-producer Amanda Gardner. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hello.
Excited to be here.
Right, guys. Well, thank you very much. All the way from Boston, Massachusetts, is that right?
That's right.
Brilliant. So, guys, tell us how the F.A.N.G Games started, first of all.
Well, it's funny. Amanda and I, we've been married for over 10 years now, and we've always had the same hobbies. We've always enjoyed video games together.
Nice.
We collaborate on her novels. We collaborate on my work and working on the Bioshock series. And after Irrational shuttered, we had this opportunity to sort of figure out what was next. And we were kicking around some ideas to maybe start up a company, and then eventually this idea to create a horror game where you play as a blind protagonist hit us,
Awesome.
and we immediately started jumping in and figuring out how to make that happen. And so again, it was just an opportunity that we had to pursue, both from a game perspective, but also to collaborate together.
Yeah, formally to be able to do this together, to formally collaborate together is just, we couldn't say no.
Right.
No. Well, it sounds awesome. I mean, there's a lot of experience as well with the F.A.N.G Games, isn't there? A lot of amazing titles that you've worked on there. Bioshock Infinite, Dead Space, just to name a few.
Sure.
I mean,
absolutely.
how's that sort of how's that transition been? Coming from, the likes of Irrational to then creating your own studio.
Yeah, well, it's a very different experience for sure.
Yeah.
I think that coming from a big what eventually became at Irrational a really really big AAA studio. Originally we're relatively small, but you just have to approach the design, you have to approach production very differently. You have to be, I think, a lot savvier in deciding which challenges you're going to take on.
Right.
I mean, from what we've seen in the footage, the game is looking absolutely incredible, guys. You can tell you've put a lot of work into it.
Thanks.
I mean, from start to finish, how did the whole concept of Perception, come about? It's looking an absolutely amazing first-person narrative horror.
Actually, the initial seed for Perception came from one night in grad school. It was my final semester, and my professor one night just said, to the class, hey, tonight you're all going to walk to your cars, and by the time you put the keys in the ignition, you're all going to come up with a brilliant idea. And I love that sort of challenge. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm
great.
walking to my car, and sure enough, I'm racking my brain thinking, okay, we've been kicking around some horror ideas. We should start up a company. We should start up a game. What kind of what's new? What would be new in horror? Well, how can we bring a fresh perspective here?
That's awesome.
And conveniently enough, I had also been studying a lot about accessibility and a lot about designing for accessibility and all that. And so the idea hit me what if you played a horror game as a blind woman? And I remember specifically sitting in my car that night trying to figure out how the heck am I going to make this happen. And we started kicking things around, and sure enough, things definitely snowballed.
In terms of gameplay as well, I mean, what sort of entities and enemies can we expect in Perception? To be sort of tormenting Cassie in a way. The
primary foe you'll encounter is something we call the Presence, very mysterious shade-like figure who roams the halls looking for you. You engage in this sort of cat and mouse or hide and seek game where you have to very carefully weigh. Sound is how you see in the world. You use echolocation, and so if your only means of seeing is creating essentially the thing that's going to draw the presence to you, your main threat, you become very. It creates this tension of how much noise do I
have to be really careful, I guess, whilst going through certain parts.
Absolutely. And so you'll have to use the environment to create distractions and things like that.
Platform-wise, we're looking at Steam, aren't we, at the moment, with potential console in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm an omni gamer. I play everything. And we both really want to bring it to consoles. However, we did kickstart this project, and our first priority is absolutely to our backers. And so, we have dev kits for Xbox and for Xbox One and PS4 here. I really want to make that happen, but I'm not going to commit until I know for sure that we're going to be able to nail the quality, and that we're not going to make any compromise. So that's something we're definitely looking into. I haven't announced anything yet, but I'm just being trying to be fair and cautious at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable. I mean, fingers crossed, guys, we're going to see it on all platforms in the future. I mean, it looks absolutely incredible. We have got some footage to show and a few screenshots as well.
Awesome.
Guys, thank you very much for coming on the show. Very excited about Perception. Where can everyone check you out?
The best place is thedeependgames.com or our Twitter account.
At the Deep End Games.
Pretty. And obviously, you've still got that Kickstarter page going as well.
Well, the Kickstarter, the page is there. You can get some details on it. We pretty much have all of the details on the videos anyway, on our main page of thedeependgames.com. But there's some additional stuff on the Kickstarter. We are taking pre-orders through our website, but the Kickstarter is essentially closed.
Brilliant. Perfect. Well, guys, we're all looking forward to it. Do we have a potential release date just yet?
We're looking at very late summer, early fall. We haven't nailed down exactly the date, and again, it's partly due to the fact that we want to make sure that we hit it, and we're being realistic and all that sort of thing. So very late summer, early fall.
Perfect. Sounds great. Well, guys, I'd like to thank Bill Gardner and Amanda Gardner for coming on the show. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing more on the game.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Right, guys, don't forget you can check out the full interview on our YouTube channel, simply /News2Gamers. Right, next up, we've got the review for Street Fighter. Yes, it's back and it's awesome. Check it out. Everyone I've met has had a different approach to Street Fighter, and everyone seems to have their own style. This has become the power of this franchise. For every person who swears by Blanca, there was always someone proudly stating Guile's ferocious and agile fighting style. It has managed to harmonise itself through the fighting game zeitgeist to popular culture, and the community is just as passionate today as it was back then. Before a single punch has even been thrown, Street Fighter V's ego for overly intricate playing style is apparent from the off. Times have moved on since Street Fighter 4's focus attack system, most crucially. The mode was designed as a get-out-of-jail-free card when you were stuck in tricky predicaments, allowing opposing hits to be absorbed and then counter-attacked. However, its secondary use as the primary meant you could set up some of Street Fighter 4's most powerful, crowd-pleasing and triumphant combos. This meant every game was different and fun in many ways. As its replacement, literally activated by the same simple 2-button press, is the X gauge or the V skill. Or rather, the many V skills, because instead of limiting creative play via a very specific route, a la its predecessor, the V system triggers the open, free-form, anything-can-happen play that Street Fighter V revels in. These new mechanics lie in the core of the system, which are still the same as what you'd expect from any Street Fighter game. Veterans of the series will have no issue picking up Street Fighter V and having endless fun with it. They have even removed the annoying chip KOs, which now means the damage you take whilst blocking won't result in a KO. I would always find myself on the receiving end of this, unless your opponent uses a critical art attack on you. This is a satisfying and smart design decision from Capcom, if there ever was one. The majority of these changes feel like a move to make the game feel more accessible for inexperienced players, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it does take away what the franchise has been about from its inception. Away from the mechanics of the game, you have the choice of 16 fighters to play with right off the bat. Ken, Ryu, Zangief, Dhalsim, Chun-Li, Vega and M. Bison all return, as well as Cammy from Street Fighter 2. Then you have the likes of BIRDIE, Karin, Nash and Armika also added to the roster from the Alpha generation. Nikali, who is a dreadlocked Aztec warrior capable of some of the most powerful attacks in the game. Then you have Rashid, who is one of my favourite characters in Street Fighter V. He can bounce around the screen, build up some quick and insane combos. He does have a bit of a weak defence, however. And then you have Laura. a pretty powerful attack-minded fighter who can easily pull out some devastating moves within a split second. Capcom have really upped their game in terms of new character design. Characters now feel unique, lifelike and fun to play in their own individual way. On top of that, they look incredible. There is a certain glow and polish in the way they move and attack. Originally, I was sceptical about certain fighters prior to release, but honestly, every character looks amazing. Basic character stories are good, with plenty to offer in terms of experience and the offering of an opportunity to adjust to new characters with a slight light-hearted backstory as we prepare for the exciting cinematic story experience that launches in June. Though the stories in the game are actually quite short, lasting between 3 and 5 fights each, they are still worth a playthrough. So the question to end the review with is simple. Is Street Fighter V the best in the franchise to date? The answer is yes. Despite being almost incomplete at launch, it boasts some amazing, distinct and enjoyable gameplay, accompanied with simplistic but beautiful presentation, and on top of that, the visuals are pretty stunning. With a host of exciting, unique characters and plenty more to come, there is plenty of fighting greatness for returning veterans of the series and new warriors who are eager to prove their worth. You can find the full review for Street Fighter V on www.expressandstyle.co.uk/entertainment. There you go, Street Fighter has returned, and we had some fun battles, didn't we?
Well, you can hardly call it a battle when I annihilated you over and over again.
You said you weren't going to tell everyone about that. Anyway, what a show we've had tonight. Fantastic. Great to chat to the F.A.N.G games earlier on.
Don't forget, you can watch the full interview on our YouTube channel straight after this. Just open News2Gamers and hit subscribe.
We'll be back next week where we see the return of Respawn, where our director will be taking a look back at one of the most memorable games we all used to brag about. Keep it locked right here on News2Gamers.